The restaurant was elegant, without being ostentatious. The kind of place where successful people met for business dinners and first dates. Soft lighting, contemporary decor, a wine list that required actual knowledge to navigate. Sophia Bennett stood near the entrance, smoothing down the burgundy dress she'd borrowed from her roommate, checking her reflection in the window one more time. At 29, she was about to go on a blind date with someone her friend had described as successful, single father. Very nice guy. What her friend hadn't mentioned was that successful meant millionaire. CEO. Sophia had looked him up online after getting his name, Marcus Lawson, founder of Lawson Technologies, worth an estimated $50 million. And Sophia was a preschool teacher, making $38,000 a year, living in a cramped apartment with 2 roommates, wearing a borrowed dress and shoes she'd owned since college because she couldn't afford new ones. She'd panicked. What would a millionaire want with a struggling teacher? So she'd decided to embellish. Just a little. Just enough to not seem completely out of place in his world. Marcus arrived right on time, and Sophia's first thought was that he was even more handsome in person than in his professional photos. Tall, confident bearing, but with kind eyes that crinkled when he smiled. He held the hand of a little girl, maybe 5 years old, with blonde hair in pigtails and a pink dress. Sophia, I'm Marcus. This is my daughter, Lily. I hope you don't mind that I brought her. My sitter cancelled last minute. Of course not. Hi, Lily. I love your dress. Lily beamed. Thank you. Daddy let me pick it myself. They were seated at a table with a booster seat for Lily, who immediately began coloring on the paper menu the restaurant provided for children. Marcus ordered wine, then turned his attention to Sophia. So, my friend tells me you work in education. Here was her chance to tell the truth. Instead, Sophia heard herself say, Yes, I'm in educational consulting. I work with various institutions on curriculum development. It wasn't entirely a lie. She had helped develop curriculum at her preschool. She just made it sound much grander than it was. That sounds fascinating. Which institutions? Sophia named a few schools, adding vague details that sounded impressive, but were essentially meaningless. She mentioned a portfolio of clients and ongoing projects that didn't exist. Marcus seemed genuinely interested, asking thoughtful questions that Sophia deflected with more embellishments. She was so focused on maintaining her fictional career that she didn't notice Marcus glancing down at her shoes-worn flats with the leather cracking at the toes, completely at odds with the elegant borrowed dress. Lily, bored with coloring, tugged her father's sleeve. Daddy, I need to go to the bathroom. Excuse us for a moment, Marcus said, helping Lily down from her chair. While they were gone, Sophia felt a wave of shame. Why was she lying? Marcus seemed nice. Lily was adorable. But she'd started down this path and didn't know how to turn back without looking foolish. When they returned, Lily climbed back into her booster seat and studied Sophia seriously. Do you like kids? I love kids. I work with them every day. Daddy says you work with schools. Do you teach? Sophia hesitated. Yes, I do some teaching, as part of my consulting work. Lily nodded sagely. I like my teacher. Her name is Miss Rachel. She reads us stories and helps us with art projects. What do you teach? The direct questions from a 5-year-old were harder to deflect than Marcus's polite adult inquiries. I work with younger children, teaching them colors and numbers and how to share, like preschool. Yes, exactly like preschool. Marcus had been quiet during this exchange, watching Sophia carefully. "Lily, why don't you color for a few more minutes while the grown-ups talk?" Once Lily was absorbed in her coloring again, Marcus leaned forward. "Sophia, can I be honest with you?" "Of course. I looked you up before tonight. I know you're a preschool teacher at Little Explorers Academy. I know you make about $38,000 a year based on standard teacher salaries. I know you're wearing a beautiful dress but shoes that have seen better days, which tells me you've probably borrowed the dress for tonight." Sophia felt her face burn with humiliation. I can explain. Please don't. Just tell me why you felt you needed to pretend to be something you're not." Tears pricked Sophia's eyes. "Because I looked you up too. I saw that you're a millionaire CEO, and I panicked. I thought you'd think I wasn't good enough, that I was just some poor teacher trying to date up. So I made myself sound more impressive. I'm sorry. That was stupid." Marcus sat back, his expression softening. "You know what I noticed when we first sat down? Lily liked you immediately. She's usually shy around new people, but she showed you her dress and asked you questions. That's rare. Then you talked to her like she was a person, not an accessory I'd brought to dinner. She's a lovely child. My ex-wife left us 3 years ago. Said she didn't sign up to be a mother, that Lily cramped her lifestyle. Since then, I've dated women who either ignored Lily entirely or tried too hard to buy her affection. You just talked to her normally. That's worth more than any impressive career credentials. I love working with kids. It's what I'm meant to do. But it doesn't pay well, and I live in a tiny apartment with roommates. And I wear old shoes because new ones aren't in the budget. I'm not impressive by your world's standards. My world's standards are garbage. I make money, sure, but I'm raising a 5-year-old alone. I work too many hours, and most nights I'm so tired I fall asleep reading her bedtime stories. I'm not looking for impressive, I'm looking for genuine." Sophia wiped her eyes. "I should have been honest from the start. Yes, but I also should have made it clear that I don't care about credentials or wealth. I care about character. And even though you lied about your job, you've been honest in every other way. The way you talk to Lily, the way you listen, the way you admitted the truth when I called you on it, that's what matters." They started over, this time with honesty. Sophia told Marcus about her real job, about the challenges of being a preschool teacher, about loving her work despite the financial struggles. Marcus told her about the demands of running a company, about the loneliness of single parenthood, about his fear that Lily would grow up feeling abandoned by her mother. Over the next months, they dated carefully. Marcus insisted on paying for things, but Sophia maintained her independence, refusing lavish gifts she couldn't reciprocate. She introduced Marcus to her World Children's Museums and free concerts in the park, activities that didn't require spending money but created memories. A year after their first date, Marcus proposed at Sophine's preschool, with Lily and all of Sophine's students as witnesses. At the wedding, Sophine gave a speech about truth and worthiness. "A year ago, I went on a blind date, wearing borrowed clothes, and told lies about my job because I didn't think a preschool teacher was good enough for a millionaire." Marcus saw through the lies, literally saw my worn shoes, and researched my real jaw before we even met. What I learned was that trying to be impressive made me forgettable, but being honest made me memorable. The right person doesn't care about credentials or bank accounts. They care about character and kindness and how you treat the people who matter most. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. Comment about a time when honesty was scarier but more valuable than pretending to be someone you're not.